use concealing. It is so revealing. I want to jump and touch the ceiling, cause I can't fight this feeling. Undeniably, you cannot refuse it. So you got to choose it, otherwise you're going to lose it. It's spinthemusic.com. You know it's BIGDREW, Mr. I Could Never Be You. Plug in, log on, connect. Right then, dance back, no space, good music, no time to waste. Tell the DJ, turn up the bass.
Alright, I'm Pritchin here for Spinny Music TV, and we are live in Miami, Florida, with one of the biggest men in Caribbean music right now, Big Drew. Thanks for talking to us, brethren.
Yeah, well, you know it's the BIGDREW, Mr. I Could Never Be You.
Well, we want to start off with that. That's like your signature stamp, right. Mr. I Could Never Be You, a.k.a. How did that come about?
Well, as I like to tell people, whether you see it as an insult or a compliment, the meaning is still the same. Right. So take it how you want to take it. You understand? So I am not sending it out in any particular fashion, but like I say, if you see it as an insult, it's an insult. If you see it as a compliment, it's a compliment. But the statement holds true no matter which way you look at it. I could never be you.
Right, right. Well, I like that. I mean, you have your own individual approach and so on. And some people say that you're a bit controversial on the scene and so on. You have your own views. And we'd like to know, what are your principles, your values that you firmly believe in?
Well, all right. Well, I'll touch soca music first and foremost because it is. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. It is a part of my heritage, it's a part of my culture. And I've said it before in another interview, and I'll say it again. And people need to understand the statement. At the end of the day, I am not a soca artist. It's not a disrespect to soca. I am simply saying that I don't want to be pigeonholed into any one particular genre. I am an artist, and my genre is music. You understand? I have a blank canvas, and I would like to paint any picture I see fit to paint.
Okay, so taking the devil's advocate that approach to it, would you say that then soca music is the type of music that can pigeonhole you in a non-positive aspect?
Well, it's not so much being pigeonholed in a non-positive aspect. It's just like an actor being typecast. If an actor always gets picked for roles where he is a villain, after a while you can only see him as a villain. You understand? So for me personally, I know where my love of music is concerned. I don't want to just be seen as only a soca artist. I want to be able to walk into any venue, anywhere in the world, pick up the mic, and just do me.
Would it be like soca music, reggae music, hip-hop, R&B, and so on?
It could be country western, you understand, which are still looking for a good country western beat. We will do it, you understand? As long as it's music and I'm vibing it, we'll do it.
Cool. Now, you've also had some strong views about the soca industry, right? And some people, again, it's up to their interpretation how they value it. But how do you see soca moving forward as a genre? Is it on the international stage as yet? Is it moving forward? Is it moving forward as fast as we should expect it to be?
Well, truth be told, while the rest of the world is evolving, soca music, unfortunately, is regressing. And people have, again, understand the statement. If all are vexed with me, please do not send Emperor Chin email, send me email. Come to the MySpace page, come to the Facebook page, Big Drew Music, and leave all the comments there, all right? But at the end of the day, soca music is regressing because soca was already on an international stage. And as a result of how the music is being portrayed, how it's being conveyed, what is being put out there as a representation of soca music has now forced soca music into it's a backward spiral that's happening, because instead of us progressing and taking it to the next level, we actually moving back. Because truth be told, again, soca has been international for years now. From way back in the days of Kaiso and Calypso, when you have mainstream acts, mainstream American acts that were covering songs done by Kaiso artists, Calypso artists, soca artists. So I don't see this whole cry that they have for the soca music to be more international and more international is nonsense. The music has been international. What needs to happen is they need to stop and take check and figure out exactly why or where the shift occurred. And I have my own personal opinion on that. You understand? Again, who don't like it, who vex lost. But when you have a genre that has a subject matter that doesn't change, aka rags, flags, wine, jam. Yes, it is a part of our culture, but there are several different ways that we could portray and convey these aspects of our culture without making it sound like the same thing every time.
Well, well said, well said, well spoken. Now, in terms of your views, you care to share and expanding on that?
I don't line up, no hesitation, because time up, find a partner.
All right, so we unplugged here, Spinning Music TV with Big Drew. Tell us your thoughts.
All right, now, for me personally, there's a lot of infighting that takes place within soca music that is a huge contributor to what is happening with the genre right now. Again, no disrespect to anybody, but there's a lot of good music out there, and when you have this thing where DJs, well, go to a party and all operators do well, 5 DJs in the party, all 5 of you all came in with the same set of, well, it's no longer records, the same set of MP3s, and all 5 of you all will play the same selection in rotation all night long in the party. Why? When there is an extensive catalog of soca music that exists out there. And the thing is, truth be told, the listening audience wants to hear it, but they can't control what you, the DJ. I mean, yes, they can by not showing up to the party, but there's a whole different subject by itself. You understand? But you all need to just get more creative where the music is concerned. Stop taking the same song from last year or the next man tune from last year that did good and do a cover of it and switch up a little 2 things in the beat and put it back out again next year. Get a little more creative with it, please.
So, there's a lot to work on with creative needs and so on between the artists, the DJs, and so on. Fundamentally, it seems to start perhaps with the artists. Some argue that it's the government that needs to put more money into it and so on. But you touched on a fundamental point, which is that we seem to be fighting a lot amongst each other in the industry. Why do you think that is, and what can we do to try and prevent that from happening?
Well, the simplest way of explaining that is tunnel vision. You understand? In the soca industry, or the lack of an industry that exists, there's this whole practice of tunnel vision that limits the scope of where people see the music going. All right, case in point, you will have 4 or 5 artists that are supposed to be on a show, and instead of saying, okay, all right, all 5 of us are on this show, it's more exposure for us. You might have one artist that may go to the promoter and say, well, listen, you know what, you really don't need that guy on the show. If you were to give me X amount less than what you're giving him, I could do an additional 2 songs. Why? It's not necessary. You understand? At the end of the day, the pie could become so much bigger if we stop trying to block each other from getting a slice out of this one small piece of pie that everybody tries to eat from right now, and everybody's trying to block everybody from getting to that one small piece of pie, when if we allow the creativity to just grow and flourish, the pie itself will grow and flourish with the creativity.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, the biggest thing is to try and do justice for the music, right? If we sort of thought about it as pushing soca music, then we definitely get there. For myself, based in Australia, that's where we are, with spinning music, I could tell you that soca music is definitely not on a global scale as far as I'm concerned, in terms of what people expect from it, you know? But I do agree that it has been internationalized previously, historically, with Harry Belafonte singing some songs and so on. He's taken it and exposed it a bit more. Now, what do you think is happening in terms of the younger artists? Are they seeing things differently? Are they thinking about soca music as pushing their own music, or are they still in the struggle to bring it?
Well, all right, younger artists now, and this is very important. Our culture not knowing its past could never have a future. So I don't understand how, if you are a young aspiring artist, you don't know the base and the foundation of the art form that you're coming out representing. Something wrong with that. Stop and check yourself. You understand? Because if you're coming out claiming that you want to be the next thing in soca, but you don't understand the history of soca, you don't know the history of soca, you're already off to a bad start. You understand? So for any young artist, any young aspiring artist, know your culture, know your history, know your heritage before you jump into it. And at the end of the day, be true to your music, and your music will be true to you.
Cool. Now, the other thing is that we talk about taking soca on a global level. Some pitfalls, your views on how we can actually take it back up there. But we need a metric. We need to know that, okay, when soca music is at this level, then we've taken it up a notch. What should some of those metrics be? For example, maybe YouTube hits could be one of them. Albums sold, things like that. What is it that what's the metric that we'll know that we've actually taken soca music up a bit?
All right, now I'm glad you touched on this subject because it comes back to a little pet peeve of mine: the elusive soca Grammy. People, all right, again, educate yourselves on what the whole process entails and what it involves. Can soca music win a Grammy? Yes, it can. Can it do it right now? No, it cannot. As a matter of fact, hell no, it cannot right now because it's not in a position to do so. At the end of the day, and again, if I'm wrong, please somebody correct me. But at the end of the day, there is nobody in soca right now that is selling even 100,000 units, 50,000 units as far as moving CDs, albums, even singles. Because we in the day and age of iTunes and all these different sites where you could purchase MP3s. There's nobody that's even moving that on a singular level.
Right.
So these are some of the entities that are looked at when it comes to judging music as being popular music or music that's on a global scale. So it's not necessarily the genre itself that is not popular. I think it comes back down to the mechanics of how the genre operates, because as it is right now, and I've said it before and I'll always continue to say it until it changes, we need to stop looking at soca as a means of, as we like to say, eating our food. We need to stop looking at it as that and treat it for what it is, a business. All right? Case in point, artists. If you are going to be booked for a show, collect your money, half your money up front. You collect your money at the venue the night of the show before you touch the stage. This is how regular business in the music entertainment industry is handled. You get a down payment which confirms that, listen, I have been booked for this show. The night of the show, before you touch the stage, you get the balance of your money. Until you all start treating this thing as a business and stop operating on this whole hustler's attitude and hustler's mentality, we can't talk about anything on a global scale. And that's just the truth of the situation. YouTube hits. Again, if I'm wrong, correct me, please. If somebody can direct me to a singular soca artist, and that's the key word right there, singular soca artist, no features, a singular soca artist that has 1 million hits on YouTube, please, again, Facebook, Big Dream Music, let me know. You understand? These are the numbers that a major label would be looking at, because again, at the end of the day, it's business. A major label is not going to pick up a soca act who only has 20,000 YouTube hits. The average dude in his bedroom has 20,000 YouTube hits, and he doesn't even have a talent per se to show. So these are the things that we need to work on as far as aspiring for this whole global thing and then aspiring for the Grammy. Until the numbers get up there, it's just talk and nothing else behind it.
Well, it's true. I mean, I've interviewed a few Jamaican artists already, and I can honestly say that there's a lot of young Jamaican artists that I've never really heard of that travel all the way to Australia, the Middle East, I mean, Israel, you name it, they're traveling there now. And if I were to imagine any soca artist going to any of these countries, I think it would just be wishful thinking, right? So just on that fact alone I think the mechanics has to be improved, and you touch on doing it as a business, and I know a lot of the Jamaicans do that. A question of supply and demand. I mean, if you don't have the demand there internationally, then how can we elevate it as a business? You know, how can the artists charge more money? Because more money usually reflects more higher demand, right? But if there's no demand for it, then, you know, because I think at the end of the day, what we both agree on is we don't want to devalue the profession. We don't want to devalue what soca music stands for as a business, as an industry, and so on. So does it go back to supply and demand then?
Well, I mean, basic economics, which I was an economics man back home. Yes, supply and demand has a lot to do with it. But again, truth be told, is there a demand for soca music out there? Yes, there is a demand out there. But when you have, again, the infighting and the undercutting, yes, I said it, the undercutting that goes on, where you'll have one artist who will turn to a promoter and say, listen, all right, this guy is charging 4,000 for an appearance. I'll do the same appearance and I'll give you a couple more songs for 3,000.
Right.
Now, when he does that, the next person coming after him now is going to do the same thing, because the promoter says to himself at that point, okay, I could get this guy for 3,100, so I no longer need to look at anybody in the 4,000 price range. So what happens now to the next person who comes after him wanting to try to secure their gig? All right, he doing it for 3,000, I'll do it for 2. And it's a vicious cycle that will continue happening until, which it is occurring right now, you have people jumping on stage for free.
But you see, when you actually speak about that cycle, does that cycle only occur in Trinidad, or because some of these soca artists like yourself, especially, live in America, Canada, England, and so on? But for me personally, I've sort of found that this undercutting behavior happens more often in Trinidad when we're down there for Carnival. So is it a case that we need to just have more foreign-based artists and create an industry overseas, perhaps outside of Trinidad, to make soca grow?
Well, all right. No, the downside to that is this, and it's the truth in the situation. In soca music, there exists this unspoken rule that unless you are validated in the mecca of soca, you're not really saying anything.
All right.
You understand? So, and to touch on the question that you asked about if the undercutting occurs out here, yes, it does occur out here, even with, again, those established artists that are based or that have been validated in Trinidad and Tobago and in their respective countries. The undercutting does occur, and it still happens. It happens out here more. It happens out here more so than it does home.
Nice. I'm feeling nice. I'm feeling nice.
We're talking to Big Drew here live on Spinning Music TV in Miami. Unplugged, getting all his views. Some call it controversial. I think it's just a matter of fact, good common sense, and so on. Now, 2011 Carnival coming up. We feeling nice. You released a big tune on the Kiss Rhythm. How did that come about? Let's talk about the music side now.
Well, all right. Now that we dealing with uncut and keeping it real. All right. Truth be told, people, the Feel Nice track was recorded since 2009, September 2009, and for reasons unknown to me, the rhythm was released in November last year, but my track was not released as part of the official rhythm release. And again, like I said, for reasons unknown to me. And attempts were made on my part to ascertain what was the reason as to it not being released, but the necessary channels of communication closed off for whatever reason. So I wasn't actually going to put the track out.
Right.
I wasn't, because I'm the type of person where, again, I believe in treating things as a business. If I'm dealing with a producer and I'm working on your rhythm, I'm not just going to take your rhythm and hijack it and do something with it. Because, again, it's the same way I wouldn't want somebody to take my lyrical content and just reuse it without.
Right.
So
you're dealing on a professional basis.
Right, I'm dealing on a professional basis. Now, like I said, attempts were made on my part to determine what was the reason behind my track not being put out. And for lack of communication, the answers still haven't been ascertained. So I reached a point where I had let people hear the track previously when it had been recorded, and questions started coming back at me as far as when the rhythm came out. They wanted to know, well, how come they haven't heard my track?
Right.
And they love the track so much. So I'm like, you know what, fine, I'll just go ahead and put it out. So I took the approach that is used in mainstream music, and I did it as what's called a white label release. Artists, educate yourself on these things. A white label release, basically what it is that I release the track, and I'm not trying to get any type of copyright money off of the track, because, again, I don't want to say it's not an officially sanctioned track, because it is officially sanctioned, because the track was recorded with the producer.
Right.
Truth be told, I was the second person to record on this beat, because, again, all of the songs that they heard got recorded probably over the summer 2010.
Right.
My track has been recorded since September 09, and not just pieces of it, the entire song, because the beat is an excellent beat.
Yeah,
It's an excellent beat. The Kiss Rhythm is an excellent beat. And from the time I heard the beat, now, trying to divert into another subject matter, a lot of people always ask me, well, how do I come up with my songs, and do I... paper? Just an unnatural process, because I'm of the opinion that music is a vibe,
Right.
and anything straying outside of that vibe kind of tends to contaminate the whole process. So if a song doesn't come together to me in one shot off the first rip, I'll put it down and come back to it when the vibe is right. The Kiss now, the whole thing came together in one shot, because the energy level was right and the vibe was right. So that whole song was done in, for lack of a better term, in one take, verse by verse. And it was just coming from, if you listen to the song now, my style of music, I like to tell a story.
Right.
I like, for when I sing a song, you must be able to put, I call it verbal imagery. You must be able to paint a picture off of what I'm saying. You understand? So dance pack, no space, good music, no time to waste. Everybody could relate to that, you understand? You're in the party ram, good music, we not sticking, you understand? It's time to enjoy yourself, you're feeling nice. Like Optimus, I don't prime up. If it's that bumper, I'm gonna sign up. When I go to I don't know about anybody else, I could only speak for myself. But when I go to a party, you don't take sand to the beach. And if you're on a beach and it has sand all around, it's the frolic, you understand?
Right,
so again, the vibe behind, and then how I like to formulate a song too is which again, artists, please educate yourselves about melody and harmony. You can't have music without melody and without harmony. I like to identify different aspects and elements of the beat and attach myself to it, because at the end of the day, if the beat was made before my vocals, then my vocals are supposed to complement the beat, not fight with it, not come above it, but merely complement the beat. So a lot of times people hear songs from me and they wonder, well, was this beat tailor-made to suit the song? And no, 90% of the tunes that I've recorded thus far, the beats were sent to me and I caught a vibe on it and I crafted a song to complement the beat and not fight with it.
It sounds like a case of love at first sight with you and a rhythm, you know what I mean? Exactly. And so when you get your rhythm now, you hear it, you just vibes off it one time and lyrics just flow in straight off? Yeah, well, again, in the case of the Feel Nice, from the time the beat, true story, I was at the producer's house and dead tired because I was traveling at the point in time and I was out of it, and he was like cycling through different beats for me to listen to, and when that one came on, it was as if, all right, boom, yeah, I got a shot of adrenaline. So I was up now and I'm sitting up now and I'm listening to the beat and I'm like, okay, all right. And within about 10 to 15 minutes time, I'm like, listen, cut the mic on and let me do me. And I don't remember, I think I formulated the verse first and then transitioned into the hook. Because again, it was like, it's like storytelling. So at the end of painting the whole picture of coming to the party, the music night, the vibe, the only thing left to do is to say, all right, I'm feeling nice. Well, here there's man. I mean, as a DJ or just even as a music listener, for me, it's always the hook. And when I heard the hook on the song, I say, I didn't even need to listen to anything else. We feeling nice. And I say, this song will be big, right?
Good music, no time to waste. Tell the DJ, turn up the bass. No sticking.
Any more things for 2011? Any more songs you're going to release? You're coming up with something, you know, that a creeper?
Well, all right. You mentioned the Clear Progress, big up Combination Studios out of the UK. I have the release on the Clear Progress called For Whatever, which if you haven't heard it or you haven't listened to it yet, listen to it. You understand? Positive music, very good rhythm. And you mentioned Sugar, Silva, Slamakata, there's other artists on the rhythm. Trust me, the rhythm is a good rhythm, good music, listen to it. Now, as far as releases, just for Carnival alone, we ain't talking the whole year yet, because just for Carnival alone, I have a tune called Check Them with my brother Terra Bless, Terra B, which is the son of the great Lord Brigo, and who also resides here in Florida too. So him and I have a track that we have is gonna come out, and the whole purpose behind Check Them is again, we are addressing certain issues that needed to be addressed. Now, it's not necessarily a cry to war, but it's just a self-awareness thing, as if to say, well, okay, check yourself. You understand? Because, case in point, I'll use myself as example. Now, because I took some time off from putting songs out and recording to focus on the whole role of being daddy, like I say, somebody press play and take the flick off pause. Took a short break, now I'm back on the cause. I take time off for the birth of my daughter, but the boss tell me, daddy, unleash the slaughter. You understand? So I take a little time off, so people thought, well, I went on that rock hiding, and people started to get reckless and were saying things that, no, understand me, I have an expression I like to use, that when I sweat, I eat. So I really don't care about what people say about me or how you perceive me. That's up to you. I know myself at the end of the day, and I am comfortable with myself, and I'm comfortable in my skin. But in the same token, at some point in time, there has to be a certain level of accountability. And check them now brings us to that point where the accountability needs to be established and addressed. So look out for check them. On top of that now, for everybody who loving Feel Nice, which again, you're loving the music, that in itself is a whole reward for me by itself. Sidebar. Anytime Feel Nice comes on, I now use the boss, my daughter, as my gauge when it comes to good music. Now, anytime the song comes on, wherever she is, she'll stop what she's doing and throw her hands up in the air and start. So, if at 1 year old, and as I always like to say, little children are an excellent guide to good music. You understand? Because they have such a lack of bias when it comes to listening to the music. So when a little child gravitates to something, pay close attention. All right. The follow-up to Feel Nice, which it didn't even come out as really a follow-up, but because of how the song came together now, it has to be the follow-up to Feel Nice, is a tune called Tiefin. And the name of the song is not Tiefin, sorry, the name of the song is Stick Up. You understand? Goes a little something like this. Tonight, yes, a Tiefin. Wine on any girl I find. Tonight, look at Tiefin. Anyone I catch his mind. Tonight, yes, a Tiefin. Wine on any girl I find. Tonight, look at Tiefin. Anyone I catch his mind. Straight up, no discriminating. Love it when the woman them background shaking. Anyone I find, well I taking. No sticking, no hesitating. 10 out of 10 they bound to get rating. The kind of movements that they making. Helicopter oscillating. Have my eyeballs them rotating. Coulda fat, coulda slim, coulda big, coulda tall, coulda blind, coulda deaf, coulda short, coulda small. Coulda whine and get on bad. Coulda straight up pose on the wall. Middle age, old school or a young thing. Black, white, Chinese or brown skin. She coulda even be from country or straight up her tongue thing. Tonight, yes, a Tiefin. So, Tiefin, we working out some little kinks with Tiefin right now as far as the beat is concerned. Big up Iron Tracks. And I trying to have Tiefin out by the week preceding Carnival for the latest, because it may not take off in Trinidad, but it will take off elsewhere. So I would like to get it in rotation in Trinidad before the Carnival season, so it has a little gusto coming out of Trinidad. But Tiefin, look out for it. Yeah.
Well, the lyrics sound good, the melody there for sure. You know, so you're blessing it, and of course, bless up Iron Tracks, man, because he's doing a wicked job and so on. And yeah, being a family man is not an easy thing.
And as far as music is concerned, I'm actually leaving this Friday to head to Puerto Rico for a week, because I'm going to be shooting some videos down there with my Latino equivalent, my brother from another mother, Charlie Way, Puerto Rican reggaeton artist, extremely talented. And I have a song that he's featured on, which is called Girls Want, and also produced by Iron Tracks, and he has a track that I am featured on. So we're going to be shooting the full-length video for his track featuring me, and then we're going to be capturing some footage in Puerto Rico for the song with myself featuring him.
Right.
And we've been talking about doing it because we have such good chemistry. The chemistry is so good. He knows very little English. I don't speak Spanish. But we record songs together. How it comes about, I really can't tell you, but it just works. So we in talks of doing a collaborative effort, myself and him, where it's just gonna be an album, again, just between myself and him, doing songs, going back and forth throughout the entire album. As far as when that is slated for, there is no time frame on it just yet, because there's so many songs that we vibe together, so it's kind of hard to like sit down and start rifling through it and picking out, okay, this is what we want to go with, or this one. So actually we may even put out a mixtape prior to doing the album of some of the stuff that we have together. But again, big up my brother Charlie Way. There's a lot more stuff coming from him and from us as a collaborative effort. That aside, everybody keeps asking about the whole album.
Yeah, sure. Tell us about that.
I have enough recorded music to cover at least 5 albums, to truth be told. But again, like I said, until it makes no sense, I don't believe in doing something just for the sake of doing it.
Right.
If I'm gonna put out an album and only 10 people are gonna buy it, that does not make any sense. You understand? So my whole aim right now is just to raise the level of awareness to the existence of my music and myself as an entity. Once the level of awareness is where it needs to be, the album can happen.
Right.
The album can happen at any time. But the level of awareness just needs to be where it needs to be for the album to happen.
Cool. All right, so positive things coming out from the man. They call him Big Drew. We're live here in Miami, in Florida. Sun is bright, future is bright, music is bright, right? So Big Drew, thanks a lot for talking to Spinny Music, and continued success in everything that you do, brethren.
Yeah, well, like we tell them, you can't refuse it, you have to choose it. Because if you don't, you're going to lose it. It's Spin the Music. You know who it's B-I-G-D-R-E-W, Mr. I Could Never Be You.
Bless, we're out.
Dance back, no space. Good music, no time to waste. Tell the DJ, turn up the bass. No sticking, straight pace. Y'all tell them we don't watch face. Any bumper to get late.